George Eaton, who probably did more than anybody else to destroy the ascendancy of Jeremy Corbyn, who I think, if I'm correct, said that Jeremy Corbyn's dismissal of concerns about a rise in anti-Semitism was one of the, what was it now? About not understanding English irony, the most offensive statement made by a British senior politician since Enoch Powell's 1968 Rivers of Blood speech. This is one of the key statements, really about the progress of the present Labour Party. And George Eaton is an influential British journalist known for his incisive political commentary, his role as senior online editor of the New Statesman, always worth reading, where he's been a key figure in shaping the magazine's political coverage, the political information. Eaton also served as a political editor and deputy editor at the publication. He's known for his sharp analysis of British politics, often dissecting the inner workings of Westminster with a flair that combines depth and accessibility, and he's a reputation for being both well-informed and willing to challenge conventional wisdom, making his articles both engaging and convincing. His recent piece, Who Speaks for Britain, I think captures the mood of the nation, grappling with political volatility and questioning the nature of leadership in a complex era. And his portrayal of Keir Starmer's early days as Prime Minister is not just a commentary on Starmer's approach to governance, but also reflects, it's a broader reflection on the shifting dynamics of British public opinion as we have negotiated the crisis from Southport to London. The article cleverly juxtaposes Starmer's measured, law and order driven approach with the populist antics of figures like Nigel Farage, highlighting the tension between maintaining order and addressing the deeper concerns of society as it emerges from the stagnation of Brexit. Eaton's writing style is marked by an intellectual rigour backed up by the University of Warwick just down the road, yet he doesn't shy away from vivid imagery and analogies, such as likening the modern political landscape to a Gotham-esque tableau of supervillains. He's better at this, by the way, than Liz Truss. Not Liz Truss, Nadine Dorries, there we are. Everyone is better than Liz Truss, unless you're a farmer managing the long-lasting lettuces. This not only makes his analysis more relatable, but it injects a certain dramatic flair and linguistic fun that keeps his readers hooked. But Eaton's critique of the so-called centre ground in British politics is where the article truly shines. He dismantles the notion that political centrism is the natural home of most voters, arguing instead that the electorate's views are far more nuanced. As he notes, most voters lean left on economic issues, but take a more right-wing stance on law and order, a combination that defies the simplistic binaries often used in our political discourse. Of course, I hasten to point out, because people keep asking me where I belong politically. I lean right on economic issues, and I lean left when it comes to law and order and society. I like to think that I model myself on the Greek leader Mitsotakis, but maybe I just model myself on being an old fuddy-duddy. One of the article's strengths lies in Eaton's use of data to support his arguments, such as polling figures showing strong public support for measures like renationalising the railways or imposing VAT on private school fees. I approve of the first, I disapprove of the second. The evidence-based approach lends credibility to his analysis and reinforces the argument that Starmer's positions align closely with the common ground of British public opinion. Yet Eaton's article is not without its critics. I am one, but I enjoy it enormously. While his dissection of public opinion is thorough, one might argue that he underestimates the potential for political fatigue among voters. The relentless focus on law and order, for example, could alienate parts of the electorate who are more concerned with other pressing issues like economic inequality or the climate crisis. Moreover, Eaton's portrayal of Starmer as a leader deftly navigating these complexities might be seen as somewhat idealised, overlooking the challenges Starmer faces in unifying a deeply divided Labour Party and leading not just the Labour Party but the country. George Eaton's piece is a compelling analysis of the current political landscape in Britain, offering insights into how Keir Starmer is attempting to position himself within it and whether or not he will be able to maintain this position. Eaton's blend of sharp critique, vivid language, and solid data makes his article a must-read for anyone interested in the future of British politics. I mean, he's got some lovely. He's very good at mixing a bold statement with statistics that support it. Here's a good one. On the economy, he's adopted left-leaning policies that enjoy broad support. And then he tells us that support exists, renationalising the railways, backed by 76%, establishing GB Energy, 75%, imposing VAT on school fees, 60%. On law and order, he's shown that he is willing to deploy the authoritarian. Now at this point, of course, he's avoiding the statistics because they're generally getting smaller and smaller. He also depends on advisors from a variety of political backgrounds. He's got an advisor from Nicky Morgan, who was at one point, she's now in the House of Lords, the Conservative Educational Secretary, and one of the better ones. Trill. I don't know who this Trill is. Starmer is probably much closer to median public opinion than a PM has been for a long time. Well, yes, certainly since David Cameron, possibly since before that, possibly since Tony Blair. But there will be people who would say Tony Blair didn't get it either. Tony Blair was an elite. You could go all the way back to John Major. And the popularity of views that some would characterise as extreme is proof of the fallacy of the centre ground. I don't agree with him about his objections to the centre ground. Most voters, he says, do not lie in the midpoint between left and right in the manner of the Liberal Democrats or the defunct Change UK. They lean left on the economy, favouring public ownership of utilities and higher taxation of the wealthy, and right on crime and immigration. 66% believe immigration numbers have been too high over the last decade. I completely disagree with him. But as with any political analysis, what George Eaton says should be taken with a pinch of salt, recognising both its strengths and its potential blind spots. But it should be read with great enthusiasm and great delight. George Eaton is one of our joys. So, thank you.